She was one of the most admired women in the world, a symbol of elegance, grace, and control. The woman who stood beside power, yet remained silent in ways no one truly understood. To the public, she was perfection. To history, she became an icon. But behind that composed smile, there was something else. Something hidden. Something unresolved. Because what if everything we believed about her was only part of the story? What if the truth about her identity wasn't written in history books? But buried deep within her blood, Jacqueline Kennedy was not just a first lady. She was a figure crafted by circumstance, shaped by tragedy, and preserved by image. From the moment she stepped into the global spotlight, every detail of her life was curated. Her style, her voice, her posture, even her silence. She didn't just live history, she became it. But history has a way of protecting certain narratives while quietly erasing others, and that's where the mystery begins. Because long after the cameras faded and the world moved on, questions remained. Not loud questions, not public controversies, but quiet, almost invisible doubts, the kind that linger in the shadows of legacy. Who was she really? Not the public figure, not the icon, but the person beneath it all. In recent years, a new kind of truth has emerged in the modern world. A truth that doesn't rely on memory or storytelling or even documentation. A truth written into the very fabric of who we are. DNA. It doesn't lie, it doesn't forget. And it doesn't care about reputation, it simply reveals. And when applied to the past, it has the power to challenge everything. Because Ancestry is more than a list of names. It's a map of identity. A hidden code that connects generations, secrets, migrations, and choices. It tells stories that were never meant to be told. Stories that sometimes change everything. For someone like Jacqueline Kennedy, whose life was so carefully documented, the idea that something could remain hidden seems almost impossible. And yet, that's exactly what makes it so compelling. Because the more controlled the image, the more fragile the truth behind it becomes. Imagine discovering that your lineage is exactly what you believed, that the roots you thought defined you were only part of a much larger, more complex story. It's not just a historical shift, it's a personal one. Because identity isn't just about who we are seen to be, it's about where we come from. And sometimes, those two things don't align. Throughout history, powerful families have carefully shaped their narratives. Bloodlines were preserved, reputations protected, and certain truths quietly set aside. Not out of malice, but out of necessity, because perception was everything. And once a story was accepted by the world, it became reality. But DNA doesn't follow those rules. It doesn't protect legacy. It uncovers it. And in doing so, it forces us to confront a deeper question, not just about her, but about all of us. How much of our identity is real and how much of it is constructed? For Jacqueline Kennedy, this question carries a unique weight. She lived in a world where image was power, where silence was strategy, where even grief had to be composed. She didn't have the luxury of being uncertain in public, but in private, who knows what she questioned? Who knows what she felt? Because behind every composed figure is a human being navigating their own reality, their own doubts, their own hidden truths. And that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about a possible revelation. It's about the idea that even the most iconic lives are layered with unseen complexity. That even the most photographed woman in the world could still hold secrets, not necessarily secrets she chose to keep, but secrets inherited, passed down, encoded, waiting. And perhaps never fully understood. Because sometimes the truth doesn't arrive in a dramatic moment. It doesn't explode into history with headlines. Sometimes it exists quietly, in fragments, in possibilities, in questions that are never fully answered. And maybe that's what makes it so compelling. Not certainty, but ambiguity. Because ambiguity keeps the story alive. It invites us to look deeper, to question more, to move beyond what we're told and explore what might be. And in that space, between fact and possibility, something powerful happens. We begin to see history differently, not as a fixed narrative, but as something fluid, something evolving, something human. Jacqueline Kennedy will always remain an icon. That will never change. Her influence, her presence, her legacy, they are undeniable. But perhaps the most fascinating part of her story isn't what we know. It's what we don't. Because the unknown carries a different kind of power. It lingers. Resonates. It stays with us long after the story ends. And maybe that's the real truth here. Not a shocking revelation, not a definitive answer, but a realization. That even the most visible lives can contain invisible stories. That even the most complete narratives can have missing pieces. And that sometimes, the most powerful stories are the ones that remain just out of reach. So the next time you see her image, poised, elegant, you're not just looking at history. You're looking at a mystery, one that may never be fully solved, but one that continues to captivate precisely because of that. And perhaps that's what makes her story unforgettable. Not just who she was, but who she might have been.